Hey everybody, welcome back to Sales is King. I'm Dan Sixsmith, glad to be with you. And I thought I'd get back to doing some videos. I was actually with some friends last night and they said, Dan, whatever happened to your Sales is King videos? We don't see them anymore. And I just told them, been busy. Yeah, obviously still doing the podcast, and we just released a podcast today. And that's what I want to talk about. It's based on a poll that I did, a LinkedIn poll, and I have polls on LinkedIn. Asking many of my followers that are in sales what their top sales challenge is today. And 42% of you said that your biggest sales challenge is prospects going dark. People not coming back to the table, one and done, and the research backs it up. Forrester came out a couple of years ago, and they indicated that only 17% of us get a second meeting. Okay, 17% only. Less than 2 out of 10 get a second meeting. So what that tells me is we're not doing a very good job in that initial meeting. So there's some additional research that backs this up. But what I really want to talk about is what are the top 7 reasons why buyers go dark, why prospects go dark, why sales reps are rejected. And there was actually a study that came out a couple of years back from USC Business School. It interviewed somewhere between 800 and 1,000 B2B buying executives and asked them, why do you reject salespeople? What do sales reps do that make you not want to buy from them, that make you go dark? We cover them in the podcast, and I'm going to go through them quickly for you now with a little bit of color as to how you can overcome some of these issues. So the number one reason why buyers reject sales reps is they don't trust them. Okay, no surprise really, but trust is the number one element that is critical for buyers today. So think about, how do we build trust? We build trust by research, by preparation, by effective discovery, right? By empathizing with their situation, by understanding their business, by asking thoughtful questions and doing an effective discovery, by understanding what stake the buyer has in this process, right? How it ties back to their motivations and their dreams and their goals, right? It's building that element of trust. It's not coming in and talking about yourself. It's actually demonstrating that you care about the buyer, that you're here to help, versus I'm here to sell. It's about you. So they should do most of the talking, right? If you meet somebody for the first time, you have a conversation, they do all the talking. How does that leave you? You kind of walk away going, wow, you know, he or she's kind of into themselves, they're an egomaniac, they're whatever. But if you leave a conversation where someone speaks and asks you questions, seems genuinely concerned in how you are, what you do, your family, etc., there's some trust being built there, right? So today, even more importantly in this COVID world, is digital trust, right? How do we build digital trust, which now becomes a little more difficult? We're doing things on Zoom. So it's very important now to step beyond the screen and try and get to know people. I talk about reading the digital room, right? You know, we used to be able to read the room when we sat in a conference room. Now we're on Zoom. So how do we read the room, right? We've got to have the gallery view on. We've got to make sure everybody's participating, they're engaged, how they're reacting to what we're saying, and make sure we're building trust for everyone in the room. And I'll do a separate video on kind of reading the digital room, which I think is a great topic. So the number one reason is lack of trust. The second reason why buyers reject sales, and thus why prospects are going dark, is they say that the sales rep did not understand their business. The sales rep did not understand their business. So think about this. We can't come in and do a generic presentation, right? We have to do the homework. We have to do the research. We have to understand the buyer's business, the business model, how they sell, to whom they sell, how they're doing, what their goals, their strategic goals are, right? What are the executives saying? How are they doing versus the competition? Do they have funding rounds coming up? Did they just get funding? These are the strategic issues that we need to be well versed in when we go in and talk about presenting, right? What's going on with their products and solutions? Is there something new coming out? Are they repositioning? How are they dealing with COVID? Is their business on the decline? Is it rising fast? We need to know all this, and we need to ask additional questions that help validate what our research is. But we have to understand the business. We can't just go in and start throwing darts and start talking about let's run into a demo and hopefully something works out. Understand the buyer's business. It's very easy to do. You just have to put in the work. You just have to find the reports, go to the social channels, go to Google, go to the 10Ks, go to YouTube, watch the interviews, go to Bloomberg, CNBC, see what's happening, and be ready to go in and show that buyer that you understand their business. Reason number two. Reason number three, and this is a big one of ours, big one of mine, they didn't show the buyer what's in it for them, okay? Reason number three, why prospects go dark. The sales rep did not show the buyer what's in it for them. Value selling, right? What's in it for you, Mr. or Miss Buyer? What's in it for you, right? So we talk about value. We talk about understanding pain points and challenges and initiatives and priorities, and personalizing our conversation around that, asking effective questions, talking about issues that we've uncovered, talking about what benefits, quantifiable benefits you can bring to the table, how this will help them not only make more money but also advance their personal cause within the company, how potentially they could use this to move up in the organization. So highly personalized, but we have to show them value. We have to talk about pain points. We have to talk about issues. We have to work hard to uncover these, but then we have to quantify our benefits, and we have to show what's in it for them. We cannot just do a generic type of approach. Value selling that quantifies the cost of inactivity, the cost of the status quo, the risk of the status quo, and we'll get into this in a few minutes. But show them why. A couple of episodes ago in my podcast, we talked about buyers saying, why should I care? Who cares? Why is this important to me? That's the question that needs to be answered, that you have to make sure you answer and you have the answer to when you go into that meeting. Why should they care? Bottom line it for them. What is this going to do for them? We've got to do a better job of that. Let's go to reason number four. Reason number four, where prospects go dark. The sales rep comes across as too self-focused. The sales rep comes across as too self-focused. It happens a lot. It's easy to fall into this trap, right? We're thinking about our quota. We're thinking about our comp. We're thinking about our bills, our family. We're thinking about us, which is fine, right? No one is going to care about you more than you. So you have to take care of you. But when we meet with buyers, we cannot come across as self-focused. We have to come in as helpers, as problem solvers, as strategic thinkers, as extensions of their team, right? As someone who has some subject matter expertise, as someone who can come in and teach them things that they didn't know, teach them ideas and solutions to their problems, to even figure out if you can possibly help them. Not every prospect is a good one. Can we help you? Maybe we can't. So it's got to be all about them. And if it's all about them, it will become all about you. Make it about them, and then it becomes about you. It's not about you first, because you'll be dismissed immediately, according to this survey. Don't go in and be self-focused. Think about the prospect, make it about them, be a helper and a problem solver. Excellent. Number 5, the next reason why buyers go dark, hard selling, right? You're going in there and you're going old school tactics, right? You're just pushing through to the close. You just want to get the money out of their wallet. That doesn't work anymore. Okay. I like to say that sales are won or lost in the discovery, in that initial meeting. Arm twisting, gimmicks, one-time only deals, things of that nature are not going to work. And buyers are turned off and they go dark and they can see right through you if that's the direction you're going in. So no hard selling, do effective discovery, sell with value, build trust, and now you're moving toward a sale. Arm twisting. Now listen, that's different from, and I want to make a distinction, different from being persistent, being persuasive. We have to do that. This doesn't mean we sit back and we wait and hope with our noses pressed against the window that the buyer is going to come back. We have to be persistent. We have to keep it in front of them. But we cannot be a hard seller and try and jam something down their throat. That's another reason why buyers go dark. Reason number 6 coming up. Yeah, and this is a big one. And I think in the COVID world, this one would probably be jumping up to number 2 or 3. Buyers are going dark because they're saying that the seller does not understand the risk that the buyer is facing in making a decision to move forward. There's tremendous risk today. If a buyer puts his neck on the line and makes a purchase and it doesn't work out, it could cost them their job. And it could be all over. And a lot of people are looking for jobs right now. So there's a tremendous amount of risk that's going on. And we have to understand and show the buyer that we understand that risk. So there's a certain amount of empathy that we need to show. We need to understand that this is a complicated process, that there could be other suppliers involved. And yes, we do have to be empathetic. However, what I recommend is that we need to show the buyer that there is actually risk in what he's already doing, right? The status quo is risky. Let me show you. And then we can potentially quantify his current state and what it's costing him. Any risks that he may be facing, that they may be facing, right? And the likelihood that something like this might happen. So I like to take the element of risk and turn it around and actually turn it back on the buyer and show them that there is risk in standing still and actually less risk in moving forward with me. So let's think about that, because from a neuroscience perspective, we all tend to move away from a pain before we go to a gain. And that doesn't mean we go in and try and scare people. It means that we have a well thought out value proposition that highlights the cost of doing nothing, and that highlights the cost of the status quo. So think about that buyer risk and make sure you're in tune with it and show them that the risk may actually be not moving forward with you. That's a big one. The last one, and one that surprises me, is the buyers that go dark are saying that the sales reps did not establish a personal connection. And the first thing that comes to mind is, gosh, if we're in sales, we've got to be personable. We've got to figure out connections and build rapport, right? But I don't think that's what we're talking about here. I think we're talking about a personal connection that ties back to some of these other issues. A personal connection that shows you, that shows the buyer that you know their business, you did the homework, you care enough, you're delivering a top-rate buying experience, you want to learn more, and you can think creatively and strategically. That's the personal connection. The other part of this personal connection is you're asking about what's at stake for this buyer. Is this tied to their strategic goals? Is this tied to a potential promotion? Is this tied to getting additional headcount? things of this nature establishes that personal connection. It's not about the old school, how many kids do you have, sitting down at the desk looking at the pictures, talking about the Super Bowl. This is not what they're talking about, in my opinion. They're talking about a modern sales approach to a personal connection. Okay, great. So hopefully this was helpful. I love these polls on LinkedIn. I'm going to do more of them, and then I'm going to turn them into a little bit of video podcast conversation around it. So let me know what you think. Hope everybody's doing well. Look forward to the next conversation. Peace.